Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Chocolate Thunder Podcast. I'm Joshua Roses. Um, on this episode, I kind of wanted to touch on something that I slightly talked about in a previous episode, but didn't really get to go too much detail into it. And that's, basically why I try not to date inside the comedy circle. And again, people might have different opinion on this, different experiences with it. And of course, this is strictly just my opinion. I'm not judging anybody. I'm not giving anybody any mess over it. To each their own. This is literally just my experience as far as dating goes inside the circle that you happen to work in. And even though I haven't actually dated anybody in the comedy circle, I used to be in bands and music groups and be a musician, and a lot of my experience comes from that because I see similar situations between both circles, whether it's the musician circle or the comedy circle. And for like example, when say a couple that's in either the same group or in the same circle is arguing or it doesn't work out between them, there's usually a lot of tension between it, and it's you might have people picking sides. It causes for a lot of unnecessary drama, and I don't like to be put in situations like that. And then plus two, if somebody say who's running an open mic or is the person in charge of booking on certain shows has favoritism towards one person or the other, like for me, an example for like me, I don't want to risk not being able to get booked on shows, not being able to do certain mics because that the person who's running it decided to take whoever I was dating, take their side, and then now I can't work on my material at that mic anymore, or I can't ever expect to get booked on that show. And it's just an unnecessary headache that I don't need. And I know people in the comedy circle who do date, and I really hope that it works out for them, or that if it doesn't work out, that they're able to, at least still be cool with each other afterwards. Because I don't know if a lot of you know this, but we, as comedians, we see each other all the time. I can go to say a mic right now and probably see 10 to 20 comedians there, and then go to another mic tomorrow and probably see all those same comedians plus more. And so we're all pretty much running the same circles, running in the same crews, and hitting all the same spots. So I think for me, if I was going to date inside the comedy circle, it would have to be with somebody that I know we can be cool with afterwards if it doesn't work out. Because again, I think I touched on this in a previous episode, but I have a very busy schedule. I have a full-time day job. I work nights as well on certain days, and on the days I'm not working nights or doing my full-time day job, I'm also still trying to hit mics and work on material and do things that are comedy related in that time. So I guess one benefit of dating somebody in the comedy circle is that they are aware of your schedule, because probably their schedule is somewhat similar. So that is an upside to it. But then at the same time, if you can't get your schedules to align to where you can see each other because you both are so busy, it does make for a little bit more of a hassle than it needs to be as well. And I'm not saying that, dating and relationships won't have their hard times or their obstacles to jump over, but you know, it sometimes feels like if I can avoid unnecessary obstacles, then I'm gonna go ahead and avoid them. Yeah, I don't know. It's just difficult. It's really difficult, and then I kind of feel that when you date somebody in the same circle as you, and right now I'm just using comedy as a, as my viewpoint because that's the circle I'm in right now. I could even touch back on when I was a musician and use that same circle because, again, like I said, I do see lot of similarities between the music and comedy circle. But, I mean, this could even go for something like, an office job or, any place of work, really. I mean, if you date somebody and things don't work out, a lot of times you might have that tension there in the workplace. But, the benefit of, say, working at like a McDonald's or Jack in the Box, whatever, is that maybe you can speak to your manager there and request different shifts or not to be scheduled together. And, there might be a little bit more easier ways around it. But in the comedy circle, to me, it doesn't feel like it's that easy because we're all having to try and hit up these same mics and get on these same shows, and you're bound to run into each other. You literally would just have to stay away from certain mics that they go to in order to avoid that person, but then at the same time you're hindering yourself in really progressing in your comedy and working on material. It's almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. You kind of just have to pick your poison. And for me, I would rather just avoid all that. I want to be able to be cool with everybody and, just go work on my material, do my mic, hopefully make some friends and good connections, and, and just get better as a comedian because it's rough. It's rough when you see it. It's rough when you're in it, in those situations, I should say. But I just rather not put myself in that situation. And yeah, it might mean it's going to be harder to find somebody to actually either settle down with or get into a relationship with, because now I'm going outside the circle of people who understand my schedule and my situation as a comedian. Yeah, it just makes it harder because they may not know, oh, I have to do this, Mike. I have to go and hang out at this bar, even though all I want to do is go home and go to sleep. And because, there's a possibility I might make some good connections or some good progress, and they may not comprehend everything that you're trying to do for your career, no matter what circle you're in. So that's why I understand why a lot of people date inside the same circles, so whether it be musicians, comedians, office jobs, whatever the case is. I understand it. I understand why it makes sense that you would want to date each other in those circles. Again, at the same time, with all the points that I've just put on display here, it kind of deters me from wanting to do that. So, but hey, to each their own. Again, I don't judge anybody who does date within their circle. I mean, I genuinely hope that it works out for them, or that if it doesn't, they're at least able to be cool with each other afterwards, because at the end of the day, we're all just comedians struggling and trying to get better and get booked on shows and make it to where we can just do this 100% full time. That's just my take on it, and I doubt anybody really cares for my opinion on this, but hey, just thought I would touch on that and give my insight to it. But I think that's going to be it for me today, guys. Please leave a like, leave a comment. Love hearing feedback and hearing what y'all think about the podcast so far. I love hearing, any ideas for future podcasts that y'all maybe want me to touch on or talk about. And yeah, consider subscribing. It definitely helps me and the channel out, helps us grow. And also, please look at the links in the description box. They are for my Instagram page for the podcast and my comedy page. Consider giving them a follow as well. And I appreciate y'all tuning into this, and I'll see y'all on the next one.